Hey preschool, I'm here to read you another Disney story this week. I'm going to get my Disney Storybook Collections book, and here it is. I'm going to open up my book to the table of contents. That's where you find the stories that we're going to read. And today I'm going to pick the story on page 257 of Pocahontas. Some of you might have seen the movie Pocahontas before. And we're going to read the story today. So I'm going to flip my book to page 257. And here's the cover for Pocahontas. One day, Pocahontas visited Grandmother Willow, a wise old tree spirit. Pocahontas was confused. Her father wanted her to marry Kocoum, a brave warrior. But Pocahontas did not believe that this was the right path for her. She had dreamed of a spinning arrow and asked Grandmother Willow about the meaning of her dreams. "It is pointing you down your path," she told Pocahontas. "But how do I find my path?" Pocahontas asked. "Listen with your heart and you will understand." Grandmother Willow told her, "The spirits are everywhere and they will guide you." So Pocahontas climbed tall up the tree and listened to the wind. Off in the distance, she saw strange blowing clouds. The clouds Pocahontas thought she saw were really the sail of large ships. Aboard were men from England coming to the New World in search of gold. When the ship touched shore, a man called John Smith set out to explore the new land. He met a funny raccoon called Meeko, Pocahontas' friend. Pocahontas hid from the stranger, but when he heard rustling in the bushes, he knew someone was there. Finally, the two stood face to face, and Pocahontas was scared. She ran to her canoe to get away, but the stranger called after her, "Don't go, I won't hurt you." Pocahontas did not understand what John Smith was saying, but she remembered Grandmother Willow's words. And when she listened with her heart, she saw that he was kind, and they quickly became friends. So here's Pocahontas and John Smith. Meanwhile, at Governor Ratcliffe's orders, John Smith's crew began digging up the new land in search of gold. When the Indians from Pocahontas' tribe approached the settlers, the governor called them savages. He ordered his men to draw their guns and fire. Now that was not very nice. The Indians had never seen weapons like guns before. Powhatan, who was the chief and Pocahontas' father, declared war against these dangerous men. So they were going to be mean to the Indians, and they had lived on that land first. Back in the forest, Pocahontas and John Smith got acquainted. Ever curious and always in search of food, Meeko took a compass from John Smith's bag. "What is that?" Pocahontas asked. "It helps you find your way when you are lost," John Smith explained. "Meeko can keep it. I can always buy another one in London." Pocahontas wanted to hear all about London. John Smith described the wonders of the city. And then he told Pocahontas that the settlers would build a new city, like London in the New World, where Pocahontas' family lived. Pocahontas didn't think they needed a city in the middle of her beautiful forest. She decided it was time to introduce John Smith to the wonders of nature all around them. Pocahontas even took John Smith to meet Grandmother Willow. He was amazed. "One look at this place and the men will forget about digging for gold," John Smith said. "What is gold?" Pocahontas asked. John Smith showed her a gold coin, and Pocahontas told him that there was nothing like this on her land. So John Smith and his men thought that there were gold where Pocahontas lived, but she just told him there's nothing there. John Smith rushed back to his camp to tell Ratcliffe that there was no gold to be found, but the governor didn't believe him. He thought the Indians wanted to keep it all for themselves, and Ratcliffe wanted to take it by force. When Pocahontas tried to tell her father that they must find a peaceful way to deal with the strangers, Powhatan's brave people didn't agree. They wanted to fight, and Pocahontas convinced her father that if one of the strangers would come and talk in peace, he must listen. That night, Pocahontas met John Smith at Grandmother Willow's tree. She convinced him to come with her and talk to her father. But neither she nor John Smith knew that a settler named Thomas was watching them. So was Kocoum. Suddenly, Kocoum jumped out of the woods and attacked John Smith, and Thomas fired at Kocoum. "Thomas, run!" Smith cried. So now they're fighting with each other. That's not good. That's not what Pocahontas wanted. And the warriors captured John Smith. "At sunrise, this man will die," the chief told his people. Pocahontas did not know what to do. Suddenly, Meeko dropped the compass into her lap. She looked at the needle moving back and forth. "The spinning arrow," she whispered. "It's the arrow from your dream showing you your path. Let the spirits guide you," Grandmother Willow said, and Pocahontas ran like the wind. She stopped the warriors from hurting John Smith, and the Indians put down their weapons and they refused to fight. But Ratcliffe grabbed a musket and shot at Powhatan. John Smith jumped in front of the chief and took the bullet himself, and the wounded Smith had to return to England. So did the greedy governor, who was now in chains. As they were about to set sail, Pocahontas and her friends said goodbye. "Come with me?" John Smith asked. So John Smith wanted Pocahontas to go with him because he liked her. "I am needed here," Pocahontas said sadly. "Then know that wherever I am, I'll always be with you," John Smith smiled as he left, and Pocahontas knew that in their hearts they would always be together forever. The end. Okay, boys and girls, so the story of Pocahontas is an important one because it teaches us to be nice to people, again, even if they're not nice to us. Pocahontas was part of a Native American tribe who are also called the Indians. And the people came over on boats from across the land and they tried to take their land from them. But truth is, the Indians were the first people here and that was their land. It's not right to take something else from someone if it's not yours, right? That's something I want you to think about. And another thing that this story teaches us is that even if we come from different families and different backgrounds and we all don't look like each other, we can still be friends and we can still accept each other for who they are. Pocahontas and John Smith were two very different people and they still liked each other and became friends. I hope that's something you talk about with your families and think about while you're at home. Stay tuned for another story and have a good day.